episode 123 of Piv's NXT Point of View podcast. My name is Bill Pivots. Before we get started, if you guys want, follow me on Twitter at bpiv_sports. Like, comment, subscribe, do everything for the show on YouTube. So let's get started. The show kicked off with Nikki crossing the ring, chanting for Authors of Pain as the rest of Sanity appeared from the crowd. The Authors of Pain came out, walked down the ramp, and Eric Young attacked one of them from behind, and Sanity had the numbers game on the Tag Team Champs. Eric Young tied Rezar to the side railing as they worked over Akam. Rezar pulled the railing off, and he entered the ring, but he couldn't help his partner as he was also beat down. Decent attack as they try to add heat to this feud. The crowd really didn't know how to react for most of it that I noticed. Some were chanting for Sanity, others chanted for the Authors of Pain. Nikki Cross grabbed the tag titles that Authors of Pain dropped, gave it to Sanity. The crowd cheered for a little bit. It's still a weird dynamic between these two teams. Sanity hasn't done anything to deserve the title shot, and they're both heel teams, or at least they've been booked like it. I don't know if they're trying to make one of them face to give the crowd something to cheer for, but I don't think it's going to work. I've already made my point about this tag match. I'm not going to belabor it anymore. Asuka and Ember Moon will have a contract signing next week. Billie Kay and Peyton Royce were talking about some makeup tutorial when Ruby Riott was in the background of their shot. They mocked her and then shut the camera off. Just what the hell are these two doing anymore? Like, they haven't been in a match in forever. They're not doing anything important. They're kind of just left there. They should just be called up already and just be the new Lay Cool, but better. Finally, the first match was Metro Brothers, I think it's Chris and JC, against the debuting Street Profits. The Metro Brothers looked like a knockoff of Deuce and Domino, and it was pretty bad. They had, like, the shirt pocket on their white t-shirts. It was pretty funny. Street Profits got a pretty good pop. Montez Ford definitely has a lot more charisma than Angelo Dawkins, but they're entertaining nonetheless. They hit Chris with a running dropkick and running splash combination. Metro Bros worked over Ford for a little bit. He got the hot tag to Dawkins, who took out both of his opponents, hitting one with the spear. They then hit, I don't even remember which brother it was, one of them with a pop-up spinebuster and frog splash to get the win. Fun tag match. Outcome was obviously predictable. They've been hyping up the Street Profits for a few weeks, so having them win was the obvious choice. But still enjoyable. I don't really see them being a legit tag team title contender, but as a mid-card tag team in there, just having some entertaining matches, I get it. NXT needs all the tag teams they can get, so just adding one more fun tag team to the mix, why not? They showed us the outside brawl between Hideo and Aleister, and it's been made official for TakeOver that these two will face off. William Regal was in the ring, introducing both Drew McIntyre and Bobby Roode. Roode had security with them, and he said they're there to protect everyone from Roderick Strong as he's running around like a madman. Roode did confirm McIntyre, saying that he is entitled to everything he's gotten, and it's Roode NXT. It's not we, it's me. McIntyre then gave Roode some credit for having a good year in NXT, but he then called him an ass. And he said after all the fanfare, after all the entrances, Roode will be staring at the new NXT champion. And at this point, they were face to face, and Drew McIntyre towered over Bobby Roode. I didn't realize how big of a man he was. Roderick Strong's music hit, out he came, and William Regal was furious with them. But Roddy pulled the page out of Braun Strowman's book and said that he's not done with Bobby Roode just yet. And he called him out for disrespecting him and challenged him to a fight, asking if he's man enough. Roode got angry and even put the title on the line next time they face. And he said, if you want me, though, you got to go through Drew McIntyre next week. Regal said he's the one that makes the matches, but then Roode mocked the We Are NXT mantra, saying to give the fans what they want. William Regal made it official. Roderick Strong will face Drew McIntyre next week, and if Roddy wins, he gets Roode after TakeOver. And he also mentioned that the title match is still on between McIntyre and Roode for TakeOver. Great segment. Drew and Roode had some great back and forth. Some of their stuff, obviously the comments, complimenting each other, but also backhanding it with an insult. And adding Roderick Strong to the mix spikes things up a little bit, considering their feud's not over yet. Regal made no mention of a potential title match between the two, so it didn't really spoil the main event for TakeOver. But I could see this being the downfall of Bobby Roode. He loses the title to Drew McIntyre at TakeOver, and then he loses to Roderick Strong in a couple weeks when they do face off. And then maybe that leads to him leaving NXT, or just a total rebuild of his character. But I could see that being an important storyline for the evolution of the character of Bobby Roode. Just everything, like his NXT crumbling down around him. I think that would be a pretty cool story to end the year on. Johnny Gargano was interviewed backstage. He talked about the reaction DIY used to get, and he doesn't want to miss that at TakeOver, and he wants a match. I offered to put him and Roderick Strong in a match just because they have nothing else going on, but they did kind of solve that after the main event. Second match, Oney Lorcan versus Danny Burch for the second time. They had a lot of holds and counters early. Watson said they are a mirror image of each other. That's racist, Percy Watson. How dare you say all white people look alike? Burch went for a draping cutter, but Lorcan countered. Burch did hit a German suplex and a hooking lariat. Lorcan kicked out of the Tower of London. He then hit 2 uppercuts and a running blockbuster. They traded some strikes. Lorcan went for the single leg crab again, and he kicked Burch's back trying to turn him over. Danny landed some up kicks. Lorcan locked in a Boston Crab. Burch countered it, rolled him up, and got the win. Burch then went for a handshake, but Lorcan slapped it away. He then stood there, and Burch said some words, and they eventually shook hands, and Danny Burch held down the middle rope as Lorcan exited. Another fun match. I don't think it was as hard-hitting as their first encounter, but the ending was fun with the slaps back and forth and the submission attempt. I do like how Lorcan went for the submission attempt again, considering that's how we won the first match, but this time Burch had it scouted, and he was able to counter to win. I honestly wouldn't mind seeing them fight at TakeOver or next week at NXT, whatever the case is. I could see these two go at it. It's just a fun wrestling match. It was then time for the main event, Andrade Cien Almas versus No Way Jose, and I completely forgot this match was scheduled for this week until they announced it. Almas went for his pose, but Zelina Vega pulled him out, confronted him, and he kind of assured her that it was a mind game tactic, not just being cocky. Jose hit a flapjack and a jumping headlock takedown. Almas did his pose again in between the ropes, but No Way Jose booted him in the face. Vega then yelled at him and said it's time to wake up. Almas became more aggressive. He hit the running double knees. He went for a cocky pin, but Vega said to finish him, and then he won with the hammerlock DDT. After the match, Vega cut a promo and said Almas deserves a spotlight, and what bigger spotlight than TakeOver Brooklyn. And she then brought up Johnny Gargano, and if he doesn't have an opponent yet, Almas will be able to fill that spot. Quick main event. It obviously focused on the relationship between Zelina Vega and Andrade Cien Almas more than the actual match. Jose really didn't get much offense in. He hit the flapjack and the big boot, but that was about it. It was maybe about 5 or 6 minutes long, nothing really major. Overall, it was a good week as we get towards TakeOver. We're about 9 days away, so they needed to up the ante a little bit. As for this week, though, Street Profits, fun team. Lorcan and Burch, another fun fight. And the Drew McIntyre, Roderick Strong stuff was pretty good too. Didn't really care for the main event. But overall, wasn't a bad show as we head towards next week's go-home show for TakeOver. But as of right now, the TakeOver card is Bobby Roode, Drew McIntyre for the NXT title. Sanity, Authors of Pain for the NXT Tag Team titles. Asuka Ember Moon for the NXT Women's Championship. Hideo Itami and Aleister Black. And supposedly Johnny Gargano and Andrade Cien Almas. Not a bad card at all. Kind of upset that I can't sing Bobby Roode's theme song live. But I'm okay not going. I am going on vacation the week of the 20th, so I'll miss the following week's NXT, but I'll be giving my predictions on next week's Go Home episode. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in. Again, follow me on Twitter at @bpiv_sports, and I'll be back next week with episode 124. Peace.